Hey, today we're going to talk about no-sew ring slings or making your woven wrap into a ring sling. Hey, I'm Alexandra, owner and founder of Mama Roo's. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more baby wearing content. Today we are going to talk about how to take your long woven wrap and make it into a ring sling. So you can do this with your base -2, which is what I'm going to show you today. That's going to give you a nice long fabric, and you can have lots of fun with it if you want to. All the way down to a base -4. So for me, that would be like a size 2. So today I'm going to use a size 4. That's my base -2, and I'm going to show you what you can do with any extra fabric. This is a great way to take a shorty wrap, which is super fun and you should get because they're so awesome to use, and we have a ton of them at mama-roo.com. But not only do you get the fun of using that, but if you want to play around to see if a ring sling is something that you want to add to your collection, or just, sometimes throw it up in a different way, this is a really great way to do that. And we have sling rings also available on our website. These are size large. That's what I would recommend for most for this purpose. If your wrap is exceptionally thick, maybe an extra large, but the larger the ring is, if it's too large for the fabric, it's just going to make it harder to use. For a super, super thin fabric, you might go as small as a medium, but larges are a really good place to start. These are hand buffed. You can see they're shiny. So it adds lots of fun. And larges are what most commercially available ring slings have. Okay. So this, like I said, this is my base -2. And what I want you to know about using your wrap as a ring sling is that basically the second side, we're going to divide it into a short end and a long end. You can kind of decide which side you want out. And so this wrap is pretty similar on both sides, so it doesn't make too much of a difference for this one. I'm just trying to undo it so it's not bunched up. But what you want to keep in mind is you're going to have a short and a long end, and the short end is going to go around your back, and it's basically going to be like an anchor almost for the ring sling. You could go as short as about a foot for that short end, especially if you're using a shorter wrap, but you do want to make sure, I would like to see at least that, just so that we know we've got a solid anchor behind you. You'll see what I mean when we get there. But because this is longer, I'm going to go ahead and do a longer one. And probably from about my shoulder to about my waist. So we're going to start with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first sort of sort which side do I want in or out, and kind of do what we call finger walking. So I'm going to, seeing it already flipped on me. We're going to finger walk. Where I just kind of go rail by rail. So rails, because this is woven wrap, that's imagining the loom going this way, right? And I'm going to kind of walk it through like that, help keep it from bunching. Again, I think for this one, I'm going to go about that length. And so now I've got my short tail ready. I'm going to take both of my rings. You need a set of 2. And I'm going to take my bunched up tail of that shorter side and put that through there. Now I have my short end and my long end. So for me, my long end is pretty long because this is a base -2. I'm going to show you what we'll do with that. But for now, I am going to go ahead and put this on me as if it were a regular ring sling. And so here are some of the caveats. So that short side, I know it's hard to see, that short side here, this is towards me. This is inside facing me. Okay, the long end is out here. All right. I want to do the same thing like any ring sling, where I want to look and kind of make sure it's not bunched. If you want to see a more detailed way of how to do this, how to thread your ring sling, definitely check out our threading ring sling video. It's going to go over a bunch of stuff that'll really help you if you've never threaded before, or if you're not sure how to do. We've got a lot of tips and tricks. And so I also want to do, because we're doing this no-sew, and this shorter side is going to be like an anchor for us, I want to kind of match up those rails so that on that end at least, so that it kind of stays together. Now I'm going to put this on my left shoulder, because for me, I like to put baby on my right hip. That's how I would hold him in regular life. So that's where I'm going to put him here. Excuse me. All right, and then I'm going to reach behind me. And again, I just kind of want to match those rails. And that short end should be kind of tucked up in there. And we'll kind of tuck it if it's not. So I'm going to set this on my shoulder as I bring the rest of that wrap fabric around in front, okay? So now we're sort of set up, and we can imagine that we have a full ring sling. You see some of that short fabric came out, so I'm just going to tuck that back up because we don't want that sticking out. We want that nice strong anchor. And now I'm going to, I'm going to put it through like a regular ring sling. So I'm just going to make that a little lower to make this easier. And again, we've got a full threading video. Definitely check that out if you need. But basically, I finger walked that tail, went up through both those rings, and now I'm going to go down over the one under the second, okay? And basically, I've got a bunch of fabric because of the longer length, but don't worry, that's going to make this fun. I just have to kind of feed more through till we get to a reasonable pocket. All right, so I'm just going to keep feeding that in. For a newborn, you would want this to be a small, like so just about like elbow. But for an older child, you would want it more of a pocket. Not quite this big though. So we're going to keep pulling that through, keep pulling that through. Okay, and when we feel like we've kind of got a sling pocket, we're going to go here and we'll bloom that out, right? Just like any other sling, trying to avoid any crisscrossing. Okay. And, trying to straighten out any mishaps there. And some wraps, just like slings, have different colored rails, different color striping that can all help you, okay? So this isn't a full ring sling tutorial, so I'm not going to go through every detail of what to do, but I am going to show you. And see that short end sort of sticking out a little bit, so I'm going to tuck that back up. I am going to show you real quick how to get baby in and tighten so that we can use the rest of our wrap, because you've got that nice fabric to play with and have lots of fun. So I'm going to settle baby onto that rail, make that nice pocket. Get that seat made, knee to knee, lifting up, and getting this off my shoulder. And so as you wear, you will find what ends up happening to you. And for me, it is always on my neck where I don't want it, so I just anticipate that. Now let's say you're trying to tighten, right? It's not going. Remember, we can lift baby and that'll help us tighten, okay? So, all right, so now we've got our baby in our ring sling. We're mostly happy with the seat. We just have this tail, and if it's a little bit too long, here are some fun things that you can do with it, okay? So one is to make a full second pass, and you can take that tail, tuck it, and you can either do a twist or just bring it around. You can either sort of tuck it back into the sling like that. And kind of let it drape down. Something I think is kind of fun that you can do. You can either doing it from that direction or another. You can kind of make a little corsage out of the fabric. I think that that's kind of neat. And this baby is supposed to be the size of about a 3 to 4 month old child, okay? And this is a base -2. So if you are taller than me, if you have an older child, you'll have kind of even less of that extra with a base -2. So it's not it's easy to use that fabric if you want to. Other ways you can play with it, instead of a full pass, you could do a simple twist. That can be really pretty, especially depending on the fabric you're using. So I always like to use really vibrant fabrics. That's why I choose a lot of vibrant fabrics. And again, you can kind of tuck this wherever you want to, or tuck it around the rings. But isn't that pretty with that variation? I think that's really cool. And it always makes you look super fancy. Another way that you could do it, of course, is you can take that same twist, and let's say you have a young baby. This is a really great way to get extra neck support for your baby. And then same thing, you could leave that hanging if that's, if it stays in place, just kind of depending how tight everything else is, or again, bringing that forward. You could even do like an extra little tuck, extra little thing like that, kind of tucking it up here. Really, whatever makes you happy, and is fun, and all of that is safe, and it's the same great benefits of using the ring to tighten and to loosen, and of course, to get baby out, right? It's the same way as any other ring sling. We just unfold that fabric and loosen the rings. There we go. Support baby out. So I hope that was helpful. If you'd like more baby ring content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget to check out our beautiful wraps, ring slings, and sling rings at mama-roo.com.